Here's how the Democratic Party sees you males. They see y'all like this. A feminine, frizzy-haired, emotional man. This is how they see y'all. But this video is gonna be about the Chicago mayor is complaining about ICE raids. Let's see what this is about.
Alarming scenes coming out of Chicago.
Alarming scenes.
Area where the Trump administration has escalated its immigration crackdown. Officers were seen in riot gear, gas masks, and armored cars as protesters gathered yesterday outside a detention center. At times, there were confrontations with federal agents leading to a number of arrests. Those same agents have been seen in tactical gear, roaming the streets openly carrying guns in a show of intimidation.
And
then there was this early morning raid of an apartment building earlier this week that involved around 300 federal agents, including those rappelling down from a Black Hawk helicopter.
What's the problem?
As the Chicago Sun-Times reports, quote, armed federal agents in military fatigues busted down their doors overnight, pulling men, women, and children from their apartments, some of them naked, residents and witnesses said. Agents approached or entered nearly every apartment in this 5-story building, and U.S. citizens were among those detained for hours. Agents claimed the neighborhood was, quote, a location known to be frequented by Trinidad Aragua members and their associates. But DHS, of course, gave no evidence to support that assertion, and authorities did not confirm that any of the people arrested were members of the Venezuelan gang. Joining us now is Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. Mayor Johnson, thank you so much for coming. I want to start with...
First of all, this motherfucker with the frizzy hair is fucking irritating the way that he talks. Ugh. Why, as a man, do you need to talk in such a fashion? That's about Mayor Brandon Johnson. Yeah. Ugh. I just... Elbow to the throat. Figuratively.
The raid, because for so long, the American people have felt safe in their homes from a lot of the things that are going around in the streets, whether it's these immigration raids or the Marines in LA or whatever. But this is coming to the front doorsteps of people in your community, in your city, who are American citizens, who
look at them nails,
shown that they are a part of Trinidad Aragua, or even any of the other folks that were in that building a part of that. Talk a little bit about what it is like for the people in that apartment building.
Where's your husband, dude?
Well, the tensions are certainly high in the city of Chicago. What the president is doing is absolutely dangerous and unconstitutional. But our position is clear. We're going to remain resolved and firm in our position to protect the rights of all of our residents. What you are describing is something that we have been warning about for some time, that there are a number of people, including the President of the United States of America, that have decided to declare war on poor people and
he did not
across the country.
No, he did not.
This raid that you are describing was on the south side of Chicago.
That's not the focus of what they're doing. When you do things like this, there are people that are caught up in the proverbial crossfire. And you know why, Mayor Brandon Johnson Mohawk? Because you've allowed it. You have given these people, first of all, they're raiding an apartment building. Let's see what happens. In an apartment, you have to pay rent. Where they getting the money to pay rent, bruh? Are they getting it from you? Because you spent over $400 million on them, and part of that was paying their rent. But, the problem is ICE and Donald Trump? That's the problem. Oh, okay. I'm trying to understand this, just like when Democrats need clarity on certain things. I just need some clarity. You motherfuckers create the problem, and you always preach about solving the problem, but they never solve the problem. They just obfuscate and point fingers. Let's let this Mohawk continue.
Where Black folks live, and it is evident that this is not about safety. It's not about deportation. This is about the President of the United States of America.
Immediately when he say Black folks live, what do they show? They show a Venezuelan. Stop this race fucking color-based shit. That shit is annoying. It gets you nowhere. It's to the point. People like myself, it's kind of like the boy cried wolf. Y'all speak so much about race and y'all just looking for race. I don't even hear it anymore. I do hear it because it's annoying, but it holds no weight.
And his kind that are looking to stoke and foment chaos and fear within our streets of cities across America.
Nope.
But we're going to remain firm, and we're going to fight back against this tyranny.
Mayor Johnson,
it's tyranny.
Secretary Kristi Noem, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, was in your city yesterday, and she spoke to federal agents before they were unleashed
Sweetwater
on
dude.
protesters. Listen to what she had to say.
So today when we leave here, we're going to go hard. We're going to hammer these guys that are advocating for violence against the American people. What they are doing is advocating to harm not just you and your colleagues, but your families. And they're doxing your identities and victimizing people every day by the way that they're talking, speaking, who they're affiliated with, who they're funded with, and what they're talking about as far as consequences for what we're doing by protecting this country.
So two-part question, Mayor Johnson. One is what she alleged, is that what protesters were doing? And two, and more importantly, has the secretary or anyone from the Trump administration reached out to you directly, personally, asking you, or at least telling you that they're coming to town and wanting to meet with you and discuss any of this with you?
Before he answers that question, as a Black man, why? Of course, they're not going to have anybody like me on MSNBC. They're not going to have anybody like me. Can we at least have someone that's halfway masculine? This guy and the guy previous to him, fucking Rainbow Squad. And people who are watching think that they extrapolate this through all Black men. So when they come across somebody like me who fucking talks like me and don't agree with this shit, then it's shocking. Oh, it's shocking when these are the examples that they put up. Most men, race neutral. Most men are not like these Sweetwater ass dudes that they put in front of you, but they put them in front of you because these dudes can be controlled. They're victims. They're victims and they can be controlled. I'm not gonna be controlled. I do what I want to do, understanding I still operate in a society. I'm just not gonna go out here and fucking fly off the handle. I would never do that in the first place. It's called discipline. It's called handling your emotions. But let's see what the Mohawk has to say. And he asked the Mohawk if the Trump administration has contacted him about this. The Trump administration, Kristi Noem, Tom Homan, they have contacted him. From the time that Trump was actually running, before he even got elected, they contacted him. But let's see what he says.
Well, first of all, she has no idea what she's talking about. You know, the Trump
they contacted
administration, they are completely delusional right now.
Have they contacted
and
you?
what they are promulgating in this particular moment are not just unconstitutional measures, but they're dangerous and reckless, and it's antithetical to who we are as a nation.
The question was, have they contacted you directly?
You know, what I've done in the city of Chicago, I've signed 2 sweeping executive orders. One, to make sure that the residents of this city know their rights, and that there's real clear engagement with our law enforcement, not wearing any masks, being identifiable, and being also very clear about protecting the rights of all
not
of our
answering the
residents.
question.
The second thing is we made sure that we're protecting the right to protest. This is something that's fundamental to our democracy. The peacefully assembling of individuals to petition their government to do right by the people of this nation is something that is fundamental, and it's part of the bedrock of our nation. When it comes to black, brown, white, Asian, working class people, this president has not only been a disappointment, but again, he has worked hard to relitigate the Civil War, and we're not going to stand for it. But she has no idea what she's talking about, and there are protests that are happening all over the country that are demanding justice in this moment.
Have you heard from anyone? Have you heard from the secretary?
Again.
Have you heard from the president? Has anyone talked to you directly?
No,
He's lying. He's
they
lying.
don't communicate with us. In fact, I'm in regular conversations with mayors across this country, and whether it's
He's fucking lying, because they have. He hasn't taken the call. And that's what that's about. He went on this soliloquy and talked about all this nonsense. And meanwhile, he's doing nothing. But he walks the streets of the Austin Park neighborhood, which is deadly. A lot of homicides. He's flanked by police officers. He has a SUV following him. He walks the neighborhood and gives an interview. If crime is down so much, you don't need none of those motherfuckers. You don't need none of them. Get rid of all of your security detail, the 150 of them that you have, since it's so safe. This motherfucker is a detriment to one of my favorite cities in the world. He needs to go away.
you know, Karen Bass in Los Angeles, you know, whether it's, you know, Andre Dickens in Atlanta, as you know, that our resources are being threatened in our respective cities because we're actually investing in. This president is not interested in communicating with those of us who are on the ground every single day, and we know what it takes to govern our cities, and we're doing all the good work, right? Our investments have led to some of the greatest declines in violence across this city and across this country. This president
we have
is
those stats.
unserious.
Let's put them up on the screen.
Yeah, so 30% reduction in homicides, 35% reduction in shootings and shooting victims. Violent crime is down as a whole over 20%. You know, in fact, we had the fewest amount of homicides in the summer since 1965, one of the safest summers we've had in over a generation. This is not about deportation. This is not about community safety. This is, quite frankly, this is about for profit. You know, we know that there is an investigation right now that's underway with Tom Homan, who took $50,000 from 2 FBI agents because Tom Homan made a promise to direct contracts to the very people who are running these detention centers, who actually gave over almost $3 million to President Trump's campaign. The President of the United States of America has declared war on poor people. And if there was ever a time for working people to stand up across this world, the time is now.
Mayor, I want to ask you about comments from another high-level official in the administration. This was President Trump, who spoke to a gathering of the nation's top military commanders earlier this week. If we can give a listen, I want to ask you about his comments on the other side.
It seems that the ones that are run by the radical left Democrats, what they've done to San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, they're very unsafe places, and we're going to straighten them out one by one. And this is going to be a major part for some of the people in this room. That's a war, too. It's a war from within. It's really a very important mission. And I told Pete, we should use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military, National Guard, but military. Because we're going into Chicago very soon.
So, what's wrong with that?
How are you going to ensure that Chicago is not used as a training ground for the U.S.
Oh,
military?
he's emotional.
What was your reaction to Trump's speech when you heard it this week?
A double-minded man. He is unstable in every way possible, unhinged and unhealthy. The idea of describing the American people as enemies from within is clearly not just a sign of authoritarianism. He has totally imbibed the full spirit of tyranny. And our cities are not training ground for the military. In fact,
This dude, he's fucked. What is wrong with this dude? What is wrong with this guy? He's speaking all these things that, certain words, tyranny, unhinged, and he's saying all these words, but you have 700 murders in your city. But you focus on what the president doing to help you. And he's wrong. The president's wrong for coming in and helping your city. That's what you're telling me. It doesn't make any sense on the surface. But if you look at how Democrats do things, it makes sense. They're led by Satan, and chaos is the food that feeds Satan. It's the Democrats. Don't believe what you see. Nah, that's not the case. That's not the case. He's sending these troops in to help our city, but no, we don't like it. We want crime and to continue, and we want all these illegal people here. We want that. We need our slaves. They need their slaves. The Democrats need their slaves. They need their slaves. That's why the Civil War was fought, because the Democrats were fighting to keep their slaves. And the Republicans was like, no, the law has been passed and you can't keep these slaves. But what happened? Black folks somehow started to vote for Democrats for the next 65 plus years. Democrats are good at what they do. Oh my goodness. There needs to be a college course on propaganda and programming and grooming, because the Democrats are great at those things. They have convinced a 0.1% of the population that if you feel like you're a boy and you're a girl, you can really be a boy. They're great at that. And the media is a big part of that.
Even the notion to suggest that the brave women and men who sign up to serve this country, to fight terrorism around the globe, to protect our way of existence, turning neighbors on their own neighbors is not only unconstitutional, it is reprehensible. And so what I'm going to do is what I've been doing. I'm going to use every single tool that is available to me to protect working people in this city, to ensure that our fundamental rights are
Legal
protected,
immigrants.
to make sure that people know their rights, and then to ensure that we're actually investing in people so that they can live healthy and vibrant lives. That's what the people of Chicago ask of me every single day. No one has ever asked me to go to the White House and to express a desire for the military to occupy cities. No one has ever raised that. And so what they have asked for is to make sure that this president is not cutting food and medicine and housing. What? I'm sorry, what's that?
Have you approached the White House for a meeting?
Well, here's what we've made very clear to the White House. Invest in violence prevention.
So the answer, this motherfucker is a genius at not answering the question. That would be a simple yes or no. Have you approached the White House? Here's what we have. Invest. Throw money at the shit, which they have done since the beginning of time, and there's no positive results. None. That's why ICE is in that motherfucker in the first place.
Took over $800 million away from violence prevention programs. They cut the ATF budget by 30%. Just a few months ago, working with my local police department, we took over 170 high-powered weapons off the streets of Chicago. Well,
did you mention that you defunded your police department by not hiring? And you said policing and incarceration is a sickness? That's what you said out of your own mouth. But let's continue.
This administration cut over 1,400 of those ATF positions. We said make sure that we are funding our education system. Look, if you look at everything that this president is cutting, he is literally cutting resources and services from everything that descendants of slaves fought for. Education, housing, transportation, healthcare, good paying jobs. This president has declared war on poor people, and it's going to be working people that are going to lead the charge to transform this country and to push back against tyranny. This is the time now, and I'm calling every single resident, not just in the city of Chicago, to express their voices in very emphatic terms. We have been under siege by this administration, and it's going to be the power of the people, the power of working people across this country to lead a transformation in this moment to make sure that we're protecting our democracy and protecting our humanity.
Everything he just said is just a bunch of nothing. And then he invoked race. And he say the buzzwords tyranny. He says authoritarian, all these type of buzzwords. Meanwhile, your city that you lead, that you can fix, you can fix it starting right now, is in chaos. I can't wait to see what the data is on the shootings over the weekend. While you're fixated on Trump sending personnel to help your city, saying that that's a bad thing. What are you doing to help your city? The answer is nothing. Nada. Nothing. Like the video, comment on the video, share the video. This is Mr. Info 5000, Mr. Info 5000. Peace.